I love punishment. I thrive in it. I think we need more people who are bold, not silver-tongued fed, didn't study politics their whole entire life to run our country anymore. We've seen where that's gotten us, and it's not in a good place. To me, we just need major change. I hope more veterans step up who are not involved in politics, but know how to be leaders. We need more leaders than we do politicians. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Welcome back to the show, Disruptors. I'm your host, Aaron Hale, and this is Point of Impact. On the Point of Impact, we explore the minds, habits, and heart of high-performance leaders, from combat veterans and elite athletes to battle-tested entrepreneurs and everyday warriors, forging a legacy through adversity. Our mission here is simple: to give you the mindset, tools, and discipline to sharpen the edge, live with intention, and lead with impact at home, at work, and in your community. Today, we're joined by John Tiegen, a former Marine, Blackwater operator, CIA contractor, and survivor of the 2012 Benghazi attack. Today, he'll share, his perspective on the attack then and now, how he's advocating for veterans, law enforcement, children, and many more, and make a little music on the way. He shares why he wants to be mayor of Colorado Springs. So without further ado, my conversation with John Tiegen. John, welcome to the Point of Impact. I'm really glad to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Aaron. Really look forward to it.
I've heard about you. I've caught episodes like you were on Chris Belanto's show and talking about, of course, Benghazi. And one of the things that he asked, and maybe I didn't catch it, but I don't know if I got the answer. You're a Marine, Blackwater, CIA contractor, and then run for mayor of Colorado Springs. So one of these things doesn't look like the other.
I keep people on their toes, I guess is what you could say. People try to assess who I am. The next thing I throw a curveball at them, like, what are you doing? Where are you going? So I've kind of been that way my whole life. But yeah, it's just you see things. I started off in the Marine Corps right out of high school. Became an infantry squad leader pretty quick, got out and went into actually heating and air conditioning. So I went to school for that, but it was one of those things I just did not like it. It was just really good money. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I was making air because I got paid by the job, so it wasn't paid hourly. So the harder you work, the more you got paid. So there was times where, you'd work 4 or 5 hours and you're making $600-700. So it ain't like I was hurting for money, but it's just like I hated the job. I wasn't happy with it. And this obviously after 9/11, and my previous wife, she was overseas in the military working on a base in Kuwait, and found out about contracting there. I mean, I knew there's contracting going on, but at that time it was still really hard to get in, especially if you weren't special forces. And so she got the connection for that. So I was able to go do that in 2003. I went from making, again, like between $500 to $700 a day to $13 an hour in 12-hour days in the hot sun. But again, it was something I hated that I wasn't happy. So it really isn't money that drives me. It's just what I want to do is what drives me. It's like being happy and enjoying my job, enjoying my life. So I did that. And that's kind of how I slowly floated into Blackwater, because you find out about all the contracting companies more when you're overseas. Mm-hmm. And a lot of fly-by-night companies were there. There were some that would pay you like $60,000 in a month, but a lot of those guys never came home. So to me, I was like, I wanted to make sure that if I was working for a company doing protection work or security, they're not hiring accountants or cooks to do protection work. There's no really true Steven Seagals out there. So, there might be a handful, but not that many. So I found out about Blackwater, started with them, and just kind of worked my way up, and then eventually got hired directly by the agency. So they have industrial contractors and direct contractors. So I started off in industrial, and then I went direct. So a lot of that, again, kind of comes from just being there, being involved in a lot of other incidents and just kind of proving yourself. Because I know a lot of, I did it for 10 years. So a lot of people just know about Benghazi, but there's 10 years. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in that 10 years that happens. So, just kind of prove myself, and eventually got into the GRS, which is normally just for special forces. Usually you have to have 8 years minimum special forces to get into that group. But again, just proving yourself eventually kind of got myself in there.
What would you do in the Marines?
Infantry.
Okay.
So pretty much I just call it a bullet catcher. That's really what you are.
So funny. I forget who's, I can't find it anymore, but it was the funniest story about it was a former SF guy who was driving Steven Seagal, since you mentioned it. And it was the funniest, oh my gosh, about him going into a store with his wife and like finding some kind of a Buddhist little necklace or something. She tries putting it on his head and she like cracks the shell of his spray on hair.
Oh, he must have snapped, I bet.
Oh my gosh. It was the way how like operators tell stories. It was so funny. He had to go into his gun bag in the back of the truck, which does not have any guns, but it has cans of spray on hair. Anyways.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God. I can't find it anymore. I don't know where it is. I know where I heard it. But
that's hilarious. But yeah, that's kind of how I ended up in that route. And, a lot of people think that after Benghazi that we immediately stopped. We didn't. I went back 2 more times. I think Tonto, he stopped. Oz, he couldn't go back because he was pretty jacked up. Mm-hmm. And then, so I know myself, Jack and Boone, we all went back and kept working. So...
Right back to Benghazi? Or
no, different area of operation.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it was, again, I enjoyed the job. I mean, you keeping the terrorists at bay, keeping the head honchos, running. That's, you keep the wolf away from your front door. That's the best way to do it.
That was, 2012?
Yep, almost 13 years ago next month.
Yeah. Can you believe it's already been 13 years?
Yeah, it's crazy. So for me, it's easy because not that, I was there, but my kids are the same age. So it kind of helps me keep track. In a good and a bad way. Now? 13.
No.
Yeah.
My oldest is, you must have come right home and very thankful to be alive and started making kids, right?
No, well, they were 7 months old when Benghazi happened.
Yeah. Okay, so... From your, frontline perspective, can you, I don't know, tell me what happened, what went wrong, why was it such a mess? Why did it happen? How did it lay out?
We heard about the ambassador coming, a long time ahead of time, probably about a month before. And so at first, he was supposed to bring his own security team and stuff like that. And about a week prior, we heard that he really wasn't going to have a team. We're like, this is stupid. So we kind of planned on shutting down our operations to kind of augment his protection. And so we went and kind of pre-visited a lot of the sites that we knew he was going to visit.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was a school that he was going to visit on the 13th of September. And it was a guy who actually helped rescue one of our pilots that got shot down during the Libyan Revolution and or Civil War, however you want to call it. But he had a school, and actually we thought we were going to get attacked there. We knew we were going to get attacked. We just didn't know exactly when. We actually thought it was going to be at that point at that school because It was a very soft location, very hard to defend, multiple, routes coming in and barely any way to actually get out. So that's what we were kind of preparing for, was that incident. So, but obviously that didn't happen. The terrorists themselves, a lot of people don't realize this is stuff that kind of has come out throughout the years, but they were training to attack the consulate for about 3 months prior. So it's been an ongoing thing. So it ain't like it was a complete surprise. Well, to them, they were ready to do it. I think when they found out the ambassador was there, and they probably knew his security platform, because, the 17th Feb ended up pretty much siding with them during the attack itself. So I think they were giving intel also to them guys about the security platform, or even he could have been just the Blue Mountain guys, could have been helping them, because, they're going to infiltrate. Yeah, I mean, that's just what they do. We would do the same thing if we could.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that just kind of increased the timeline, because once the Turkish ambassador left, that's when they initiated. So they had to have somebody on the inside knowing that there was a semi-friendly still on the compound, so they waited for him to leave. So as for the failures, obviously the initial failure, it's definitely the State Department. I mean, the consulate was attacked twice prior to 9/11. I was there the second time it was attacked, and at that time there's only 2 security personnel there. And what they did on that one, they actually just blew a big hole in the wall, and I think they were trying to see what the countermeasures would have been on the State Department side. Like, would we show up? Would anybody else show up and help them? And this happened. This was probably about 1 a.m, I think, is when it happened. And I was actually up doing the night shift, and got everybody up ready to roll, because I got the call, and our chief of base at that time even told us to stand down, that they're going to let 17 Feb handle it. Well, luckily there was no follow-on attack, because they probably all would have died then. But so again, for the initial stuff, it definitely falls on the State Department. They're always asking for more support, and better equipment to defend the compound. More stable fighting positions, better safe locations in case something did happen. So overall, I mean, if the State Department would have did their job initially, not the guys on the ground, but the guys back in DC, then never would have happened. They wouldn't, if they would have amped up the security posture and stuff like that, initially, it wouldn't have happened. They could have stopped it right out of the gate. And, Ambassador Stevens and Sean Smith would still be alive. But since that didn't happen, it kind of fell on, I would say, our shoulders, or the CIA, because we were the only ones there left to actually help them. Mm-hmm. And, they relied on us, and we told them, hey, if anything happens, we'll come help you, vice versa. But we knew they couldn't, because they never really had the manpower. So when we got the call, just like the previous attack, Bob told us to stand down. So that right there caused the death of Ambassador Stevens and Sean Smith directly. I 100% that it is. That's the reason why they're dead. Besides the actual fire, but if we'd have been able to leave when we wanted to, when we were ready to go, they would still be alive, because they wouldn't be able to set the buildings on fire. Mm-hmm. So that delay is what allowed them to set the buildings on fire, and Sean Smith and Ambassador Stevens both died of smoke inhalation. So
you were up in one of the towers, right, when it first started?
No, I was getting ready to go to bed.
Yeah. Did you manage to relieve yourself first, or it happened too soon? Because I would hate to imagine, with all that going on, you also had to pinch it.
Oh, no. So, no, I was going to bed. I was in bed trying to get ready to go to sleep.
Oh, because I think it was because you mentioned somebody. Who was it that said, hey, man, I got to go take a dump?
That was Tonto towards the end of the night.
I always say,
yeah.
That's me hearing the story and not recognizing the voices. But so you guys are there, and where did the order to come from to stand out?
That just came from Bob. It's who he was, and that's just how he was. He would always try to rely on the locals to do things when, again, they're not capable of it. They're not trained to do hostage rescue. They're not trained for that kind of environment. They're just, they're more just, pathetic grunts. I can't even say grunts. Grunts are better than they are, but they're not trained that way. They just go and they'll go online and just fire, kind of like back in the Civil War days. So that's all they do. They're just about manpower and just trying to overwhelm you with inaccurate firepower. So, but weeks prior to the attack happening, Bob had contacted 17 Feb contacted Bob and told him if anything ever happens, we're never going to show up. So that night as we were getting ready to load up and go, he actually got a hold of 17 Feb again. And he told him the same thing. We're not coming to help. You're on your own. So that stand down order was exactly what it was, regardless of what I'll say Adam Schiff wants to say that we lied about it to sell more books. It was a factual statement. I mean, again, I heard him say it because he said it directly to me, but I didn't really know why initially. But now I know why, because if we did not leave, he was never going to let us go. So we left without orders.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I maybe never will, but have we learned the root cause of this stand down order, or what events led to this? The ambassador dying, among others, like your comrades.
The stand order is just, I think Bob knew that 17 Feb were going to come help. He was afraid we were all going to die, or some of us would die. And instead of, allowing us to do the job that we're there to do and we're qualified to do, he was just willing to pretty much sacrifice the Americans at the consulate for his own sake. That's my opinion. I don't know if it's true or not, but just knowing that 17 Feb was not going to come help and we were going to be the only ones over there against, anywhere between 50 to 150 attackers, he wasn't willing to take that risk, but we were. So we left.
All right. And in the aftermath, and I know you and Palazzo and everybody involved in that, they're pissed off about how that happened. But afterwards, it seemed like the administration tried to sweep it under the rug, keep it quiet, just not. Do you think you're anywhere closer now, 13 years later, to perhaps justice, or at least some sort of reckoning for it?
Well, I mean, it depends on what you think about what is justice for the most part. I mean, unfortunately, it is combat. It is war. We knew why we were there. We knew what we're getting ourselves into. So, I mean, I really don't. It's hard to really explain for me. Again, we all have our different opinions for each guy that's there. To me, justice, it was kind of served. The administration that was there during the time didn't continue. So, regardless of how you want to look at it, if you're left or right, but Hillary did not get elected president. So to me, that's justice. Because she's definitely not a good leader. And to me, that Libyan portion just proved it, just the way it was handled afterwards. Because, knowing what I know now, this agency, which is the CIA, the State Department, were pretty much covering for themselves. They're helping each other cover what happened there, what the failures were. Initially, again, they blamed it on a YouTube video and they said it was a protest. Mm-hmm. To me, I was just like, that's just great. It was never a protest. The FBI was told that the very next day by the State Department guys, because we've talked to them after they interviewed with the FBI, and we knew it wasn't a protest. So we knew there was some covering up going on. And then with the incident with Bob telling us to stand down, again, just so much. It's still going on today. We know that. We see it all the time. But to me, that was justice. With the attackers, yeah, I mean, they're getting whacked left and right for the most part. The ones that we captured were the FBI went and did I think it was actually not FBI. I think it was Dev Group, but captured 2 guys. They were really never even part of it. They're just scapegoats. Mm-hmm. They're easy targets for them. So you just see the corruption within our government, just they protect each other is what the problem is, and what I mean by that is, on the final attack, when the mortars came in, the Delta Force guys that flew in contacted a militia, which now I forgot the name of it right now, but the militia that they contacted didn't show up. Well, what they were doing, they were getting the mortar team set up, which the mortar team ended up being 17 February Martyrs Brigade, which was the QRF team for the State Department. Mm-hmm. So they're waiting for them to get set up. So when they were set up, that's when they actually showed up to pick up the team from Tripoli at the airport. They brought them to us, which launched the mortars. And when the mortars came in, they also had a small arms attack as well. So it was a very well coordinated attack. And, that's what killed Roan and Bub. But also, 1:30 in the morning, our team leader, Hush, told everyone we didn't need any more support, that everything was done, which this was after our first attack on our compound. So why everybody's like, well, why did the military turn around? Hillary told them to stand down. No, that's not what happened. It was the CIA failure to report the continuous attack. So everybody back home thought it was over. So again, so that's another failure that, again, they're just trying to protect each other with all this fake intel crap about the video and stuff like that. So, a lot of people, they're getting what's deserved to them now. But for me, again, it sucks that our brothers were killed and all that, but it's what we signed up for. Could it have been prevented? 100%. It could have been prevented. If they'd have been reporting that, the attacks were still going on, support would have kept coming. We had a civ team, which is, if you guys don't, it's again, a group of Army Special Forces that were inside the city limits of Benghazi in a helos, and they got told to turn around just as they got into city limits. So again, we had support coming. But since the agency pretty much told the medical bird, we don't need you, everything's fine, everybody shut down and went home. So that's where a lot of the problem happens. But getting justice, that'll come in the afterlife, I think. This time, honestly, I don't think anybody will truly be held accountable. So you just can't be angry about it. You just got to move on. And just, again, to me, I just keep telling the story. It keeps their names alive and they never die. So to me, that's justice within itself.
What was that Sandler movie, Little Nicky, where Satan did, what was it? Hitler spends eternity having Satan shove a pineapple.
Yeah.
There's a few people involved in this thing that deserve a similar fate.
Yeah. So I think they'll get it.
How do you feel about the current administration and the release? It's like a giant FOIA disclosure releasing some of the communications that were going on at that time, Clinton emails, all that kind of stuff. Do you think that'll result in something?
Honestly, no, I don't think it will. I think our legal system is just as corrupt as our executive branch. I would hope so, but I'm not holding my breath. I mean, for the fact that her emails alone, that her 30,000 emails with classified, even some that were top secret, she didn't even get a slap on the hand. Nothing's going to happen to her. I mean, if you have even just one classified piece of document on your computer, you're going to prison for years as a regular civilian. So for her to have 30,000 emails, that kind of tells you exactly how our government is. But it's a good start. It's a good way to start exposing the corruption and try to get us back. I mean, we won't ever be perfect, but for our government to be working against us the way they were, especially in 2020 and stuff like that, where the FBI was investigating parents for the school board stuff, locking us in for almost trying to lock us in for a year, for months at a time because of a COVID crap. That stuff's got to go away. And I think Trump's doing the best he can. Is he perfect? No. Again, he's human too. He's not going to be perfect. Is he a politician? Nope. And I think that's why we like him, because he's not a politician. He's going to he doesn't make me happy every time, but again, he's doing the best that he can with the corruption that's going on. I mean, you got Dan Bongino, the FBI, assistant director, who's sitting there saying, there's stuff that I've seen that I will never be able to come back from. So that just tells you how deep the corruption of our government is. I mean, you had the CIA involved in the assassination of JFK along with the vice president. So that corruption, man, it is deep. And it kind of explains why our country's going down the hole it is, because we're just living in the state of corruption.
Yeah, it's a shame. And it seems as though, like you mentioned, the top secret clearances and classifications, and it's drilled in us when, we're active duty in the military, read in on programs, and being a former EOD technician with top secret clearance, well aware of these special programs and, these different levels of clearance, but we weren't allowed to bring study material or notes out of the schoolhouse. We had to do
No.
and then you hear about the presidents, not singular but multiple presidents, just having random top secret papers like in their sock drawers, and lining their bird cages and stuff. Oh, was that in there? So
right.
the emails, like you mentioned, that at the very least you lose your clearance. At the very least, you get demoted. You get put into a non classified clearance job. Like you should have been fired.
I'd have been in Leavenworth in a freaking solitary confinement, if not freaking executed, if I had 30,000 classified emails. It's not. That's not politics. That's state security. That's safety. That's our troops. Yeah, I mean, well, you had one guy who took pictures. He took like a couple pictures of a nuclear sub, and actually turned himself in pictures. Mm-hmm. You know what? He's in prison. Turned himself in. Instead, he should have just deleted the pictures. So if you're out there, you do that stuff, just delete it, man. Don't tell anybody. Just delete it. But again, it's just like, that tells me again that they are so protected. Yeah, and I don't believe any president should be taking any classified material out, regardless if he declassifies it or not. It's classified for a reason. Leave it where it is. There's no reason. Why would you need it in the first place? Honestly, that's like me taking stuff when I was, working there, which you could have, but why? Why would I? I mean, it just makes no sense. I just don't get it.
Yeah, it's similar to the withdrawal from Afghanistan. The way these things were handled, it defies logic. It defies your sense of right and wrong, and it's exactly what we need to stand up against. We need to vote against. We did rattle the cages a bit and say we don't want our officials. We want to protect our diplomats, our service members, our intelligence agents and contractors overseas. They are working to protect and defend us. We need to serve them just the same. So you said you went back at it after Benghazi.
Mm-hmm.
How long did you continue that work for the CIA?
Yeah, so I went back 2 more times. So I think it was a total of 6 months, because usually you do 2 months at a time, but I ended up doing 2-3 month tours. And that's when I was on my second one, when Oz and Tonto got on me, said, "Hey, we want to write a book and see if you want to be part of it." So kind of came home, started talking to him a little bit, and I was still kind of on the fence. I didn't really want to be part of it, but I finally decided, it's like, yeah, I'll go ahead and do it, because you're watching what's going on in the news. Again, this is probably about a year later almost, because I had to wait 6 months for my lungs to heal from going in and out of the fire and stuff like that. So I had to wait for that to heal up. So again, you're looking about a year. So it took some time when they were doing it. So they came home and started doing it. It took them some time too. But what it came down to was what I testified in front of the Senate. I was the only one who did. And then we went and testified in front of Congress. And since they weren't changing the story of how it happened, we said, screw it. We're going to have to tell the story. We thought about just coming on the news and doing it, but we knew they would spin it, because that's what the news does. They spin it. So we said, you screw it. We'll put it in the book. It's in writing. They can't spin it. It's black and white. So that's kind of why we went the direction of the book.
Mm-hmm. And how do you think they did with the between the book, 13 Hours, and the movie?
Well, so the book, I haven't read the whole thing. um, so it's how we did the book. So there's 5 of us that survived on the security, the fighting side.
Mm-hmm.
And we tape recorded what we did, what we saw, and stuff like that. And we sent it to a ghostwriter, which is Mitchell Zukov. And he took those recordings and just put them together. And that's how so the book, to me, I would probably say it's at least probably 90% or above accurate, because again, I haven't read the whole thing. I think some of my parts might have got messed up a little bit because I didn't read the whole entire book. I proofread my big portions, and that's what I told him. So I told him, I was like, I'm not reading the book. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I know what happened. Just give me what my big portions, and I'll read that. Because again, at the time, I really still didn't want to do it, but I knew it was kind of the right thing to do. As for the movie, read the book. It's more accurate. But it honored the 4 guys. It left politics out, which that was our biggest goal, even in the book and in the movie. Don't put politics in it, because for us, it degrades their death, that for what they're fighting for. Because to us, there's no politics involved. We're there trying to defend and protect each other, keep each other alive.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, for one, we didn't know what was going on back in D.C. We really didn't know about what the information that Bob and Hush knew versus what we knew. Our goal was just to keep it factual for what we knew at that time, and that was it. So, a lot of people, they come and attack us, even when we do book signings and stuff, say, well, you made it political. Yeah, we never made anything political. Read the book, watch the movie. There's no politics involved whatsoever. But they just kind of go off of, what the politicians did. The politicians are the ones who made it political. Mm-hmm. We didn't make it political, because for us, making it political, it degrades the lives that are lost.
Oh, in the moment, though, like when it was happening, was there ever just that moment of frustration? Like, why isn't the support there? Why weren't you getting what you needed when it was possible?
Yeah, it was definitely there. We're kind of, especially, I would say, it started after probably about 1:30 in the morning after our first attack on our compound. That's when we're just kind of like, where is the support? Because again, we didn't know about 17 Feb. We're like, where's 17 Feb? Why aren't they coming here and kind of protecting our perimeter, keeping these locals away from us? We're just trying to figure out, because we're not being told anything. We're still asking, he's asking, hey, where's their support? Why don't we have anybody coming? And nobody, the head shed, again, which is Bob and Hush, they never replied. They never said a word, because they knew the truth that 17 Feb wasn't coming, and they knew that the fact that they told back home like everything was fine, we don't need more help. So that was stuff that was hidden from us. So, but yeah, we're like, what the hell's going on? Where is everybody? Why, we have a U.S. ambassador that's missing. We don't know if he was kidnapped. We don't know if he took off on foot. We don't know if he's dead, because we couldn't find him inside the building. So for us, in my mind, an ambassador is a direct representative of the president of the United States. Mm-hmm. So you think they'd be moving, Earth to try to find this guy. But, so that was very frustrating, and not really knowing what, the full detail of what's going on. But yeah, there was a lot of frustration. And then even when the guys from Tripoli finally showed up, we knew they came into the compound. We're kind of sitting, Tonto made a comment. I think Boone did too, but it's like, kind of like, hey, you guys are going to come and relieve us or what? Because they'd been there for about 20 minutes. It's just like, we're sitting in these towers. We've been in here for freaking since midnight. It's now going on 5 in the morning. Let's get, mm-hmm. 2 firefights. It's kind of like, let's, let us come off, get some water, get a fresh break, because your adrenaline's just pumping. That wears you out over time. So you're just up there amped up. It's like, dude, and nothing ever came. Then the final attack, but it's just like, holy freaking crap. Where is our support? Again, come to find out, I think I found out that what Hush did like 4 years later.
4, huh?
Yeah, that he told that we didn't need any help, that everything was good. So,
Yeah, I was substationed in Italy, Naples, Italy, for 4 years, and there was, say, a platoon of the Marine fast teams, and isn't that their mission? Isn't that their job?
Yep.
So
That's,
I mean, whomever was in the area, or 13 hours, and how, I don't know what point in that period the ambassador was actually killed. But 13 hours is plenty of time to spin up, a fast platoon of Marines and get them flowing across the Mediterranean.
I mean, yeah, because if they would have got there, because we were there on the compound, they said for just over an hour and a half, I think, at the consulate. Because, we got delayed for the 30 minutes. It took us we get over there. It took us about another 30 minutes to actually get on the compound. So within an hour, we had found Sean Smith, and he was already dead from smoke inhalation. So I think the Ambassador Stevens probably died at about the same time frame. But his body wasn't found until about 1 a.m, I believe. So I think just as we were being attacked the first time, his body was found. And again, he was never tortured, raped, or mutilated. I mean, he was already deceased. So
fair enough.
They wouldn't build.
But this attack was projected, right? You had prior knowledge of it. It was going to come. Anyways.
Yeah, there was some prior knowledge, but at the time, Bob wasn't focused on terrorist activities. He was focused on the political activities. So I think if they would have been focusing on the correct things, we would have definitely been able to prevent.
How credible and how precise that information is, right? Yeah,
we could have moved them to our compounds. At least we could have been all in one location, or we could just evacuate completely if we knew the true situation. But again, when you got intel guys that are not doing what they're actually there for, again, maybe that was Bob was told by Headshed to work on politics versus the terrorists. But again, that's above my head.
Why, speaking of politics, why mayor of Colorado Springs? And was that just glutton for punishment?
I hate chaos. Yeah, I love punishment. I thrive in it. Go back again, 2020, during the COVID stuff and all that, I was very involved in doing a lot, because that just pissed me off. That, to me, that violated everything our country stood for. I did a lot of things, even against the governor. He called me a dumb bastard, which I hold that as an award, as an accomplishment. But so, the police and all that stuff cracking down on people, going in, arresting, bars, shutting clubs, even restaurant. To me, that was a complete infringement of our rights. I get let's shut down for 30 days. Let's figure out what the heck this thing is. But once it started coming out, knowing what it was, it's like, okay, who's it? It's killing people who have, preconditions, overweight, just unhealthy. It wasn't affecting really kids at all. I'm not saying no kids died. That's not what I'm saying. But for the majority of it, it wasn't as bad as they were portraying it. But anyways, so I started doing a lot of pushback. And to me, when you're a politician, especially a mayor, it is your job to protect your citizens. It's your job, because they put you in that position to do exactly that. And then the same thing, the police chief, he wasn't doing what he should have been doing. He should have been protecting our rights as well. But to me, a lot of the law enforcement was violating more rights than they were protecting. So that's kind of like, why I did it. But, it wasn't like I planned it. I was actually just kind of watching. I was on a lunch break watching TV, and they said, hey, you have like 3 days to get your packet in to run for mayor. So I got up, went down to the administration office, got my packet, and got it turned in and did it. So I did pretty good. I only ran for 9 weeks. I learned a lot in that 9 weeks, but a lot of people say, well, it's hard, it's difficult, it's stressful. I didn't think it was stressful. I was going through my divorce at the time. I was starting a new job at the time, and again, running for mayor, and that was fine. I had all, I was like, whatever, it's just another day for me. And I was just trying to research a lot of the issues that the city was, because I wasn't involved in all that. I just knew something needed to change. But this time I'm running again. I'm doing it 2 years early. So I'm prepping everything. I'm telling people now because I want to beat the money. I don't want to have to go to to these big corporations and raise funds and then pretty much they control you or and stuff like that. So I'm just trying to get the word out now. I'm studying up on the issues, ways to fix things, ways to make things better. And I don't think we need more laws and regulations. I think we need less laws and regulations. I think we need to button down what we already have in place to make things better. But that again, I think we need more people who are bold, not silver tongue fed, didn't study politics their whole entire life to run our country anymore. We've seen where that's gotten us, and it's not in a good place. So we need, to me, we just need major change. And I hope more veterans step up who are not involved in politics, but know how to be leaders. We need more leaders than we do politicians. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Now, I've read a statistic somewhere that something like 90 or 80 or 90% of our Congress is made up of lawyers. And lawyers, that study politics, political science. But lawyers, they want to win. They don't want to do what's right. They want to win. And that's what most politicians want to do. They want to defeat the opposition, and most of the time the right answer is somewhere in the negotiation, right? It's not one way or the other. This isn't a political show, but I don't hide my stance on certain things. But one thing I do know is that nobody wants to see the sausage made, and nowadays nobody wants to make the sausage.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. So yeah, like what they do this session again, not being political, but they're trying to almost 700 bills in Colorado this year. Why do we need that many? We don't need that many bills.
Right.
We're being controlled. This whole nation is being controlled by laws and regulation instead of self-control. It's just we're being what I try. Easiest way to explain this is we're slaves to our government. We literally are. I mean, you don't own anything anymore. Everything, again, your car, you might be paid off, but guess you don't own it because if you don't pay tags, you don't get to drive it. Your house, you don't own it because if you don't pay your taxes and property or your HOA, you don't own it. So again, we're a slave to the system, and we're always going to have to work and pay, and it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that at all. I mean, I get paying tags for the road dues and stuff like that, but our property, our house, maybe pay taxes until once it's paid off, you shouldn't owe a damn thing, even to HOAs. Even if you are in an HOA, if you pay your house off, you shouldn't be paying a dime ever again, except for to repair things. Again, that's how I think, because otherwise you always are going to have to work to live, and it shouldn't be like that. So again, there's a lot of things that got to change, but the only way it's going to, if regular people step up, I think a lot of people don't because they're afraid to lose. They're afraid of their past coming back I really don't care. My past is my past. I learn from my past and I move forward. I could care less what you bring up about my past. It is what it is. Mm-hmm. I'm still going to step up and try to do the right thing to make sure my kids, my grandkids, and their kids have a better place to live than we do now. Because, even with our, just our budget alone and how much we owe to these other nations, we're owned by China. It shouldn't be like that, and learning more about the tariffs and stuff like that that are being imposed. I don't know why we're allowing nations to impose tariffs on us and we didn't impose any on them. It is so ass backwards, but now it's getting flipped. And, back in the day when tariffs were actually running our country, we didn't have to pay taxes. That makes sense. That makes complete. Why not? If other countries can pay for our country, let them. They want our stuff. They want to bring their stuff in. Why not? I mean, it benefits our future generations.
Right.
We're going to have to suffer now. What I'm reading, it's going to hurt. it is not going to be good for us. But I'd rather pay it now than have my kids pay for it or their grandkids pay for it. It has to start somewhere. Our parents and our grandparents screwed us by them not being involved and paying attention, and then, us, our age, I'm almost 40, I'm almost 50 now. I really wasn't involved in politics. I kind of paid attention to what was going on, but now I'm kind of like, I wish I'd have been more involved and paid more attention, because I still got friends who are like, I don't vote, and I get on them all the time. They say, well, if a vote ain't going to count. Well, yeah, if you don't vote, it definitely won't count. But the last election kind of proved if you flood the system, they can't cheat.
Yeah, there's a lot of changes going on right now, and I know a lot of people griping about the cost of things, but it's like there's I guess the EBT SNAP cards that people can buy the cheapest, like, junk food, frozen. Everything's in a box, a bag, vacuum sealed, and it's all sugar and all that.
Yep, nothing healthy.
But that's kind of our entire economy. We're buying this cheap stuff from overseas, and now there's kind of a throttle being put on that to encourage homemade stuff. And no, go ahead.
No, yeah. The wife, she's trying to start a garden. So we're learning the green thumb thing. I'm not a green thumb guy. I might be able to grow some grass by watering it, but that's about it. So, but yeah, even the Bill Gates thing. Did you hear about that?
Yeah. What about it?
His
buying
food,
up the farmland.
No. Well, that too, but his food that's coming out, they're actually, it's going through Congress where he's going to have to label his stuff himself, like, to separate from the other produce, because it's got all kinds of chemicals in it that's coming out with arsenic and all this stuff. Like, so is what he's trying to do is trying to make it so it stays on the shelf longer. But again, that's what's killing us. Mm-hmm. Our own food system is what's killing us. That's why we have cancer, the autism, all these other crap, is all these chemicals. Even our soil, a lot of our soil in the farmlands, it's so damn polluted with poison. It's always going to be poisonous now because it's just been so chemical.
What was the joke? Like the estrogen pills or whatever the women take, get peed out, go into the water, and then all of a sudden we're turning all the frogs gay. Yeah. Well, if that's those growth hormones we put into our animals, they're making us bigger. I don't know, but
definitely
if we put a bunch of preservatives in the food, that should just make us live longer.
Yeah, you would think, but it's having the opposite effect.
Anyways, do you plan on running again?
Yep. All right. Yeah, I am going to run again. Again, I think I put it out there about 2 weeks ago. I think that I was going to do it again. I'm going to have my first campaign meeting probably in October or October or November. So again, I'm not in a big hurry. I got 2 years, but I'm hoping I'll have everything kind of ready to go. So beginning of next year, I'm gonna be running kind of hard. I'm not gonna, because I also hate it when all you see is politics, people running for office. So to me, it's just I'm just gonna slowly get things out there, and then obviously, so I'll have a year built up, and then the year of the elections, it's gonna be a flood. So.
Well, if you're running on a platform of better police protection, better support for the police, and support for the citizens in your city, that sounds like a pretty good platform to get at least just in the beginning. There's probably plenty more issues that people care about, but what else? You're also supporting veterans. Wounded veterans, troops. You got a pretty good list on your website of what different organizations you care for. What else are you doing outside of politics?
Yeah, I do a lot of veteran organizations. I try to pick ones to where 90% or more of their money goes to actual veterans and helping them out. But I do know, even there's some that have 85%. That goes, because if you don't have a good administration, it is a full-time job if you really truly want to get down to it. So I do get that, but ones that are actually, I see where they're putting the money at. I know they're actually helping veterans. I'll help them out. I'll go there. You know, there's few that I go and I do things for free for them. But I also got to make a living myself, but I'll do whatever I can to help veterans. Veterans come to me, and I try to point them into the right direction, of what organizations to go to, which ones can help, which ones kind of can't. But so, yeah, I mean, I try to help as best. Even with law enforcement, there's a lot of law enforcement that we got into, you know, therapy work that are kind of, you know, on the low down, because it's still kind of, not every agency does, but some, kind of like in the military, you go see a shrink, they kind of hold it against you, which they shouldn't. You're just trying to deal with things you don't really know how to deal with. It makes you better, not worse. But so there's a lot of law enforcement that we help. We've even helped active duty guys do the same thing. So, and it's just, it needs to be, I mean, there's, what is it? I forgot the name of the organization, Ralph, but there's 45,000 veteran organizations out there, and we're still having the problems that we are. So again, you have to, if you're going to donate to an organization, just make sure you actually research them, find out what their finances are, where the money, if there's somebody that has $1 million home, I'm probably not going to help them, because they're siphoning money to pay for that house. And, you know, I know one lady, actually two ladies that got organizations, you know, and they struggle because that's their pretty much their full-time job, and they don't take really money from it. They gave it all to the veterans. So I try to help them out as much, you know, when I can. So those are the organizations I look for.
I'm not a big fan of the, I call them pet a vet organizations, like Flowers for the Troops. You know, you send them on vacation to the Bahamas or something. I don't know. That might be therapeutic. It might be nice to get a little gift here and there, but I really do support the organizations that are really putting a dent in some of the issues that our veterans are facing. You know, helping get them housed, helping them get off of, you know, drugs or alcohol.
Yep. Yeah, those are the ones I focus on. I mean, there's one that's in Florida. It's a Warrior Shield. So they're not, is what they do. They help raise funds for other organizations. So they kind of vet the organizations, then they bring them in. So I go out there every year and help them as well too, because it helps the other organization. So it's a little bit different. So they don't raise the funds for themselves. They raise it for other organizations that struggle to raise funds. I'm just trying to rebrand myself, kind of do a whole nother thing for myself versus, you know, for other people. So I know what's going on with everything, you know, so I do stuff with Grunt Gear. They'd made this Benghazi shirt. They got a couple of my shirts online, but I'm trying to get my own brand store going. So,
and maybe make a little music. Did you say something about an album?
Yeah. So I've done a lot of writing, more angry, drunk writing, I should say, you know, and on my phone, just kind of typing away, you know, some of the stuff I couldn't really understand, but I could decipher it. And I put a couple of them out in the beginning of the year, and I guess you can call them poems, and one of my buddies, who actually used to be Charlie Daniels' manager, he saw one of them and said, "Hey, you need to do a voiceover on that." So I sat down, kind of started doing it. And when I was talking, I was like, man, it doesn't really, when you're saying it, it doesn't sound right. So he kind of started working on the changing. And then another one of my buddies said, "Hey, you should turn this into a song." So that's kind of how it started. It started from, you should read this, to you should turn it into a song. So I was like, I don't know how to write a song. So I kind of looked it up, researched how do you write a song. Then I'm like, I don't know if it'll sound good. So another buddy said, "Hey, here's a program. If you put stuff in it, it'll sing it to you." So I took my poems and I put it right in there, and some of them just sounded like crap. But that was where it started helping me flow the lyrics, I guess what you could say. So it started making so it would sound good, but still keep the same message. And that's kind of where it came from. I wrote a lot. I used to drink a lot.
And then what's going to happen with that?
I'm gonna let this album kind of go. I got a couple more songs that I'm gonna put out. I'm getting my own podcast back up and going again. I'm gonna use one of my songs for that. But no, eventually they'll be out. We're trying to get Trace Atkins to sing one of my songs. So I think he listened to it yesterday. So I may find out by tomorrow if he's actually wants to sing it or not. So that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna still put them out there regardless if I get a big singer or not. So that way it's out there. You know, I had a couple friends who wrote some stuff and they sent it to some artists, but they don't want to sing it. Like, I don't really. So my thing is like, you know, they got these AI things that'll sing it for you now, and just get it out there. Why wait for somebody? That's my thing. And it's like, you got so many good songs that are probably sitting there, but nobody wants to sing them for you, kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So because a lot of these artists, people don't realize they don't write their own songs. They're written by somebody else. And usually, like a lot of the big ones are written by the same person, but sung by different singers, artists. So when I was talking to David Corlew again, I said, you know, is it a bad thing if I just have an AI keep singing? He's like, no, because he said the same thing. Yeah, artists don't like it, but again, they don't want to pick up a song. It's out there.
Mm-hmm.
People can listen to it. If they like it, they'll listen to it. If they don't, then they won't listen to it. You don't have to wait anymore. Which, okay.
You know, it's like I was blown away by it when I learned that what was it, Boy Named Sue, Johnny Cash, that was written by Shel Silverstein. That's
right.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So, you know, and plus he was saying like some of these artists, if they have big labels and stuff, they won't. There's only certain things they'll allow them to do. They can't just do what they want. Mm-hmm. They have to listen to the labels. So that's the other thing. Like,
well, that's great. It sounds like you're keeping very busy since your kinetic work.
So. Yeah, I am. You know, I like doing things. Right now, my wife thinks I'm nuts because I hear things and I want to try to do things, and so go to church and they're talking about these orphanage housing overseas. Mm-hmm. You know, where they spent like $100 million. I'm thinking, why didn't we have that same thing here in the States? So I started looking into it. Well, now I'm digging a deeper rabbit hole. And so now process of actually trying to figure out what would it take for us to do one here in Colorado. So I'm doing one to where we buy an existing building or get an open land so we can help house at least about 150 orphans. Mm-hmm. To where they can have a permanent location to live, or, you know, obviously they can still get adopted. But again, it's like, why don't we do that for the kids here in America? Why are we always doing things for other kids overseas? We got to fix our own before we should be over there fixing everybody else. But I get why they do it. I'm not saying stop, but we also got to focus on here because our government sucks at doing things. You know, we rely on the states to help these kids out, even with the trafficking kids and stuff like that. So, yeah, so I'm putting that stuff. So I'm always doing something. You know, I got myself spread so freaking thin, but I'm still functioning. I don't mind it. It just takes me longer to do things. Mm-hmm.
You know, speaking of that, it used to be that the church ran orphanages. And then at some point, the state took it over.
Yep.
And they do a terrible job.
Terrible job.
And say what you will about the Catholic Church or whatever, I think they at least cared, and they did. Maybe children were treated a little bit better when there were orphanages, and it just wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't like run by the DMV. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, again, nowadays, I mean, kids are just bounced around continuously, and they never have so when a foster home picks them up and they decide I don't want them, or they get adopted and they said I don't want them, they have nowhere back to go. They don't. So for me to design something like this, so they can always go back to the same place. They're not bouncing around. Or if they go to a place and that place is abusive, they're like, I'm going back. I'm going to go back. I'm going to tell these people, and then we can go take care of them. So hire like a hit team to go deal with them. I'm just kidding, but maybe not. To go. So but my thing is that way it kind of gives the kids, because a lot of kids you talk to, because my wife, she goes to the jail like every week and talks with a lot of kids.
Well, let me know how this endeavor of yours is going, because I would definitely want to support and like to learn about what you found, what you find.
Yeah, it's hard. I was going to do it anyways. So yeah, it's probably going to take me till the end of the year to actually get everything kind of lined out. So I'm trying to get all the T's and crossed and I's dotted, and so I can present it to people. I don't want to do it myself. I'm going to do the legwork, initial legwork, but then I want to pass it on to somebody else who can actually run it and do it. Mm-hmm. That's my goal, because I think a lot of people, they don't want to start something, but they'll finish it. So I'm going to start it. I just don't want to finish it, because you have to have a lot to finish something, to run something like this, having the staff and all that stuff, and, who knows, maybe I will, if I get, if it comes down to it, maybe I will, but we'll see. Well, I just want to get it going.
I could talk real estate, and I could talk, doing good in our community all day long. But it's starting to get a little bit long in the hour, and I think it's about that time to transition into the final segment, the countdown to impact. There's a 3, 2, 1, 3 books, 2 quotes, and 1 person who have all made an impact in your life.
Ooh, 3 books. Oh, the Founder's Bible. That's a good one. I don't know if a lot of people don't know about that. That's a really good book. I like a lot of the Founders quotes. I can't, again, know them verbatim. But, for me, where I'm at now, I think it kind of goes down to where it's the tree of liberty needs to be shaken every now and then by the blood of tyrants and patriots. I kind of think that's almost where we're at in this country right now to get back to where we need to be. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know if there's really one person in my life that's made an impact. I think it was just kind of a multitude of people that I learned from. Mm-hmm. So, but I would say initially it'd probably be a gym teacher that I had back in 3rd grade that kind of started steering me in a better direction. I can't remember his name. I just remember his actions.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Then final 2 questions. One is, what does leaving an impact mean to you?
It's making a difference. That's it. Make a difference.
Well, that's efficient. And, judges? Yeah, we'll take that one. All right. And last question is, John, if others want to follow you, connect with you, and learn more, where do they go?
My biggest platform is on X. Make sure you find the right one, because there's a lot of fake accounts on there. I do have a website, Tiegen.com, but a lot of my platforms I'm under Tiegen. I think it's me and my wife are the main picture, or at least we're on there. So if you don't see me and my wife in there, it's a fake account. That's kind of where I'm at. Again, the music, it's slowly coming out. I'm trying to figure out how to get that thing out there. It's on Spotify and stuff like that. If you stream music, I think it's on all streaming platforms now. But yeah.
Terrific. Well, John, Tig, thank you very much for sharing your time, your experience, and a little bit of your wisdom while you're on the show. And folks, thanks for tuning in and sharing your time. If you wouldn't mind right now, before you sign off, open up that website, tigtiegen.com. That's TYGTIEGEN.com. And go follow John on X. Both of those links will be in the show notes. Do that before you close out of here. And also, if you're not on YouTube, get over there and like, subscribe, and share with somebody else. Thank you very much. And until next time, make an impact.